Am I an a-hole for not attending my son's wedding? I instead spent the evening with his ex-wife. A little quick backstory. After graduating high school, my son moved 3 states away for college. At 19, he married a girl he met. I tried convincing him to wait because I personally felt he was too immature. They both dropped out and moved back here to his hometown. At 20, they had their first child, a very beautiful little girl. 16 months later, my daughter-in-law gave birth to their second child, a little baby boy. After the first baby, my wife and I noticed that our daughter-in-law wasn't happy. We both thought it was PPD related. Just after the second arrived, my son and his wife separated. She would bring the kids over for a visit. It was then she began unloading all the details onto us. I know that there's two sides of every story, but knowing my son, I actually believed her. I sat down my son numerous times and spoke to him regarding his marriage. He refused to take any responsibility and blamed her for everything, even when I pointed out where he was the sole problem in these situations. They went to counseling for a year and things were okay on the surface. Our daughter-in-law filed for divorce. My son 3 days later was on Facebook announcing his new girlfriend. A month later, they got engaged. What we learned was that my son had forced his first wife to become a permanent stay-at-home mom at the birth of their first child. She of course had no family or friends here and she knew no one outside of us. So my wife and I secretly financially supported her and got her apartment for her and the kids. Before the divorce was finalized, we received a wedding invitation. I made it clear to my son that I will not be attending his wedding and they do not have my blessing. His mother told him that she would see that I would attend. I stayed consistent in my decision and I asked him to not bring his fiancée around our house out of respect for the mother of his children. When the wedding had happened, the night before, my wife tried to give me a final push. I did not attend. Our daughter and his sister did not attend for the same reasons as I had. My wife picked up our grandkids, got them dressed, and attended the wedding. My daughter and I decided to spend the evening together with his ex-wife. I couldn't imagine her sitting alone while her kids attend her father's wedding. She was taken back that I didn't end up attending the wedding. We took her out to distract her mind. I just wanted to know that she'll always be considered family to us. My daughter also made a joke that they can drop the in-law status and they can just be sisters now. She was very tearfully grateful. I realized just how bad she needed our support and specifically on that night. The next morning after the wedding, I got a call from my son to tell me that I am a horrible father for not attending his wedding. A few days later, he found out that I spent the evening of the wedding with his ex-wife. He said that this was the ultimate form of betrayal to him, and further myself and his sister would have earned a relationship with him on his terms only. A couple weeks later, my son found out that I posted this on Reddit and that the post went viral. He sent me a message that says, "You are dead to me now." I'm positively that he will reach out back to me when he needs a loan because he will be short on cash. And his mom replied to him, "Your children have our number one priority now. They are not just some disposable items that you could leave behind when one chapter of your life closes. Maybe one day he'll understand this." So I have to ask, am I an a-hole? Am I an a-hole for demanding my girlfriend to tell me her author's pen name? I've been dating my girlfriend for 6 months now. She has been very vague about what she does for a living. I just know that she works from home and likes to write a lot. But recently, one of her friends mentioned something that I finally dragged it out of her. She's an author. She writes and self-published romance and erotic stories and novels. And while not rich, she does make a living off of it. I googled her name and I couldn't find anything about her, so I confronted her about this. She said she was writing under a pen name, so I demanded she gave it to me so I know what she does and what she writes. She refuses, saying that she doesn't want it to be leaked even by accident and no one knows. I accused her of not trusting me, which I found very annoying. So I decided to try a nicer approach, and I told her that I wanted to know her fantasies so I can try it out with her, and she responded to me that what she writes aren't her fantasies but her readers, and that she's not going to tell me. At night, I tried to check her laptop for her pen name, but she changed her password before bed. I was extremely annoyed at this point. I told her that she clearly did not trust me and it's not fair because I have the right to know what she writes, especially since it's a sensitive topic, and that I don't know her if I don't know her pen name. She was furious that I tried to look at her name on her laptop and told me to go home. Before leaving, I told her when she calls to apologize, I expect to get her pen name with an apology. She told me that I was an a-hole on my way out. I tried to call her, but she hasn't. My sister told me that I'm an a-hole and I should apologize, but I don't see that I need to. So, am I the a-hole? Am I an a-hole for letting my father cause a huge scene at my engagement party and embarrassing my future mother-in-law? My father has many faults, and I'm aware of these and therefore tend to keep interactions private. I still love him and have developed a system to keep him from effing me over. When my fiance asked me to marry him, I said yes. And then I went privately and told my dad about it. We had a nice dinner with my fiance, and that was that. My future mother-in-law wanted to have an engagement party, and I was fine with it. I just requested her not to invite my father. I explained to her that we had a strained relationship and that I preferred to keep him at a distance, and she agreed to this. I guess she thought she knew better than me. She wanted to fix our relationship, and the first step was inviting him to her home for a party with alcohol. There's something you need to know about my father. He's an alcoholic, and he has a huge alcohol problem. When I met my dad for dinner, I specifically chose a restaurant that didn't have any liquor. And right after work, his car has a built-in breathalyzer to make it start. I know what would happen otherwise. So when I saw my dad at the engagement party, my stomach flipped. I asked my future mother-in-law what was going on and why was my dad here. She said a good daughter will want her dad on this important day. I asked her, please make him leave. She said that I was being very rude. I went over to my dad and asked him to leave. He promised me that he would behave, that he was just happy to be invited. I told my fiance that I might need to leave in a hurry and that he had to come with me when I left. He knows the whole story and agreed to this. My father was fine in the beginning of the ceremony. Then the wine came out. I glared at him as I shook my head no. He took some, and then more, and then more. He started to get happy. That doesn't last. After dinner, there were drinks. As soon as I heard him raise his voice, I asked my fiance to leave. I faked a stomach problem and we left. The least embarrassing thing was that he pissed himself and puked all over the lawn. My mother-in-law was furious and told me that I should have informed her that my father has a drinking problem. And I said that it wouldn't be a problem if she hadn't lied to my face about not inviting him. My father is humiliated that he did this, and I'm just numb. My uncle has no problem controlling my dad. He's a cop, and he has come to several events with my dad where he kept him from drinking. My older brother's wedding, for example. So I have to ask, am I an a-hole for being upset with my future mother-in-law for lying to me? Alright guys, hope you enjoyed all the stories for today. Appreciate that like button, subscribe. Check out the channel for other stories that you guys may enjoy. I'll see you on the next one.